Greetings, family. It's me, just coming back with another video. I know it's been quite a while. It's been like a year. I think the last video I did was reviewing Black Panther, which has been over a year ago. But I wanted to bring you all this video. It's twofold. One is I'm actually supposed to be at the gym, but I don't want to go. Putting it bluntly, I just don't want to go. So I'm gonna start again probably next week or this weekend. But I figured since I'm not gonna go to the gym, I should do something useful. And I got my makeup on, so I figured I'll go ahead and I'll make a video. I've been thinking about doing this video for a while. So I'll go ahead and do it now since I happen to have this time. Because usually I go to work, I come home, change my clothes, go to the gym, come in, cook something to eat really quickly, eat, well, take a shower, then eat, and then I'm asleep. Like, I have these great ideas. Like, yes, when I get there, I'm gonna no. After working 9 or 10 hours, going to the gym, I just wanna be in my bed, me and Netflix. That's it. So right now, speaking of Netflix, I'm watching Good Omens, which I love, because y'all know I love David Tennant is my favorite Doctor Who, and he's in that, and it's I love it. It's just cracking me up. It's so funny. I'm kind of sad that it's only 6 episodes, but it's nice lighthearted fun, and for me to watch anything pretty much on television or Netflix or anything like that, it's got to be some mystical, magical something. I need some angels, some unicorns, some as one of my friends say, some Hogwarts shit. It's got to be something that's. I don't want to watch anything about real life. I live in real life. I'm good on that. Anyway, off of that. So this is a basically showing you all some of the books that have really resonated with me throughout my journey, and it's been over quite a few years, to be honest with you. So just sharing books that I've enjoyed, and hopefully you'll see some books in here that you're like, oh, I should check that out. Or you know how it goes when you go on Amazon. You'll pull up one book and it'll be like, and here's 5,000 more that we think you'll like. And you just go down that rabbit hole. So it'll lead you to find books that are going to assist you on your journey. Now, to be honest, this past year, I haven't read nearly as much as I usually do. I've been more focused on experiencing life as opposed to reading about it. So that's where I am. Spending time with friends, not talking to friends on the phone because I am not a phone person, but really having more interaction with people. And I work a lot. So not reading as much, but I do want to get probably in the fall. I will get back to it because reading is probably my first love. I am a bibliophile. a bibliophile. I love books. I will buy books, and I noticed that. Excuse me. I was buying books, but I wasn't reading them. It's just like, oh my God, that's the most amazing title. I need it. Amazon, send it to me. And then I get it, and I read like the first chapter, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go do something else. I'm gonna come back to that, and wasn't really going back to them. So I'm not buying as many books at this point. What I really want to do is focus on reading some of the books in my collection. Um, Probably not this stack because these books are my loves. These are like old friends, and I need to make new friends with some of my new books. But hopefully, these can be some of your new friends because they're amazing, each one in its own little particular way. So let's get started. First book, this is an old book. I'm not even sure if this book is in print. It's called A Journey Through Breath. And I got this from a UK publisher, The Express. Now, I'm not going to massacre the sister's name, but I'm going to put it up here so that you can see. I'm doing this on my iPhone, by the way. Um, when I bought this book, she was in a similar place that I am. We were young women exploring African spirituality as a path, um, committing to it, but still going through those things that younger women go through. And this is and got tongue tied. Sorry. it was really cool to just kind of read up on someone who's also in the same space that I am. It's not a biography or an autobiography. It is more or less, I don't want to say a self-help book, but it is more or less a on that tip because she does come from that, but she does share some of her stories, and I did like that. It really kind of deals more with the Asar said comedic system, which I do find interesting, and I do. There are parts of that spirituality that I do definitely. I'm definitely interested in, considering I did take the Egyptian yoga certification class, so that it does resonate with me, and I do see how the archetypes transfer from different systems. So anyway, that's a whole nother tangent. But this is a good book. I don't know if it's like I said. I don't know if it's. I think it's out of print because I had to hunt it down, and I had to order this copy. So I loaned out my copy to someone, and you know who you are. I loaned this out to someone. Told them like, "This is my book. I'm trusting you with this. Give it back." Oh yeah, I'm gonna give it back to you. Blah blah blah. I haven't seen that damn book. That was like 5 years ago. I finally went ahead and ordered another copy. And to be honest, she's going through some stuff, so I can understand that finding my little paperback book is not high up on her list, but it's still my book. But I got another copy, so I replaced it. Okay, second book. This is okay. So this book is called Cunt, and it is by Inga Muscio. This is an older book as well, but it is still in print. And I bought it because I don't. Why did I buy this book? I saw it in a bookstore. You know, back when we used to go to bookstores, that was awesome, wasn't it? But it kind of just caught my attention because when it was so small and it was just so thick, and I was like, and the name of the book is Cunt, and it's called A Declaration of Independence. And once I got into it, I just completely fell in love. This book kind of showed me, not kind of showed me, it was one of the books that showed me why patriarchy simply must fall. This is one of the books that, before we had the term toxic masculinity, this is one of the books that really taught me about toxic masculinity and the power of women. And I just loved it. I mean, I read it like it was my Bible, and it will always be in my collection. It's funny because I used to, I take the bus to work, and at the time I'd be, sitting, I'm on the bus stop, reading my little book, and people would see the title, and you'd see, I literally, people would come around and look at the book and look at me like, "What are you doing?" First of all, I'm grown, but that's another story. But and I'd just be like, "Yo, it's not what you think. It's about women's empowerment. This is not a sex manual." But it was kind of interesting. Like people would come and try to check me. Like, oh, okay then, that's what we doing. Thought I was an adult, but I guess not. But anywho, another story. Third book is, and this is an old copy. This book is so old. This is called When God Was a Woman by Merlin Stone. This is one of those books I think every woman needs to read because it shows you women's roles before Christianity. Um, and a lot of us know that now. But if you're new, maybe you didn't know that we had archetypes and that we had when women were deities and that women had roles of power in pre-patriarchal societies. Maybe that's not anything that anyone had told you, and you want to know more about it. So this is a great way. This is a great way to kind of research it. It is an older book, but the information is still valid because obviously it's history and history hasn't changed. So I would definitely check it out. The next book is my Bible. No, it's not the Bible. It's my Bible. It is one of my Bibles. It is, and when you see it and how beat up it is, you will understand. This is Jambalaya by Louisa Tish. And you can see my copy has been taped. And this is not my first copy. I've had a few copies of this book, and everyone has looked like this because I refer to it. It's dog-eared. I have just beat this poor little book up. But she is deeply loved. Look at that. Look, who does this to a book? Look what I've done. But this book has been deeply loved because it taught me so much about ancestor worship and Orisha. It was really my introduction to Orisha. I didn't know anything about them. I just kind of bought it on a whim. I think what had happened is my neighbor is outside my window throwing a stick for his dog. He couldn't go nowhere else and do this. Anywho, I'm gonna keep talking. But this book, when I bought it, it was just kind of one of those things like I was reading some other things though about African spirituality, but I was still kind of in that Christian mindset, and I was a little afraid of it, as anyone who's transitioning is. And something said, just buy it. And I bought it, and we've been together ever since then. Love it. There's so much information in here. And I love the fact that she's a little bit autobiographical in here. More than a little bit. It, you know, and one of the things that's great about this book is that my family is from Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi. So some of the things that she talks about in here, I remember seeing and hearing about as a kid, but you don't really, there's no context. And then when you read the book and you go, oh, so that's why they left glasses of water out. Or that's what a haint is. Or that's why you can't sweep people's feet. You start putting things in the context. It's like those were African traditions that we held on to, but we forgot why we held on to them. So it really opened my eyes, and it's definitely a valuable resource for anyone who wants to research their history. Next book is a new book. It is a new love. I actually wanted to do a whole review on this book, but we know that I'm really sporadic with doing book reviews. So this is Afrofuturism by Yatasha Womack. I actually picked this up. I was at, what is it, C2E2 conference in Chicago. It's a what kind of like a Comic Con type thing, but it's in Chicago. And went up there for my birthday, met some of my friends, had a great time, and got to meet the author. And they did a panel on Afrofuturism, and it's something I've been interested in because I am a fan of Octavia Butler. I've watched like documentaries on Aten-Ra, and was really, obviously, I love superhero movies and kind of anything in that genre. I don't like Star Wars, strangely enough, can never get into it. Love the Matrix though. But I've always liked sci-fi and fantasy. I always have read sci-fi and fantasy books. So just really kind of seeing how Black people are imagining themselves in spaces where other people have not was really interesting to me. And the fact that they're tying in ancient African culture and spiritual um, principles into this. And then even tying in modern life, like things like weave and twerking and trap music. Like it's all of ours. It's all this big pot of gumbo that we all put together, and we're projecting ourselves into the future. Like it's all of ours. It's all of ours. The good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent. We're going into the future, and we have writers and artists and performance artists who are writing about this and who are showing us that there is a future, because a lot of people who write sci-fi and fantasy don't necessarily imagine Black people, which is weird because we're here, but that's another story. I said that about 12 times, but it is always another story. So one of the reviews that about this book, someone got really annoyed because they said that she didn't go deep enough. And I actually think that's one of the pros of this book, is that she didn't go deep enough, because you should do your own research. You should, if you read this book, it's going to make you want to search out these other people and see what they've done, their artwork, their books, their music. You're going to want to know more about these people, because I did. At I was there were people in here. I would Google them on I Google them on, obviously, the internet, on Google, and watch their interviews and watch their TED talks and stuff like that, just so I can know more about who these people are that are creating this work. Excellent book. Next book is, now this is my hippy dippy book. This is Be Here Now by Ram Dass. So just so you know, Ram Dass, Osho, and Eckhart Tolle. I totally check for them. I Their books have moved me in ways that I don't even have words for. And this is the book, the first one that I ever read by Ram Dass. And unfortunately, I forgot to bring The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, which is also one of my favorite books. But um, this book is so hippy dippy to me. Like, I don't know. Can you see? Like, this book doesn't even go in a manner that a normal book would go. This book, you really have to get yourself into a space where your mind is open to really absorb the information that's in this book. I think it's great for someone if you're linear and you're really looking for a linear book. This is not for you. But if you're a little bit more open to something that is non-traditional, this book is great. It's just great. And could I tell you what it's about? No. You just need to buy it and just take a chance. I love it. Just buy the book. That's it. Next book is also a new love. So this is called Ancestor Paths, and this is by a Yoruba priestess whose name, once again, I cannot say, which is terrible. Oba Ilari Aladokun. I hope I didn't massacre. So, funny story is one of my friends kept sending me this book. He was like, "Oh, this book is really good. You will really like it." And he would send me a copy, and I'd look at it, and I'm like, meh, meh. I give it to one of my god sisters or one of my goddaughters. Like, I think you should read this book. I think this book is really gonna move you. Ain't read the damn book. So I saw it I was looking at something else, and Amazon recommended it to me. And I think I saw it in a Facebook group as well. And I was like, damn, that book looks familiar. I was like, wait a minute. I had that book. So I had to hit my friend up. I'm like, I know you sent me like 3 copies, but can you send me another one? Because now I really actually want to read it. So he sent it to me and I read it. And it is an excellent book. It's a great resource for anyone who is interested in kind of more so the Lakumi path, which Jambalaya kind of goes into that as well. Um, but this just kind of takes it a little deeper. They are actually books that I think work well together because they give you similar information, but then there's places where they will branch off into different things. Like she really kind of goes into working with spirit guides, whereas Louisa does, but she doesn't. Um, and then she tells you really about Lakumi life. There's a chapter where she kind of goes, if that's a path that you're interested in, you want to go into the Orisha religion, what Lakumi life is kind of like. So, highly recommend it. It's this one. I'll be keeping this copy. I'm not giving this one away. I gave the other ones away. Okay, great. I hope my books don't fall because I'm just throwing them on the bed. Next book is also dealing with the Orisha path, Finding Soul on the Path of Orisha. And Toby Milora Corial is the author. This is a great book because a lot of times in the Orisha Lukumi regular tradition, there's a lot of focus on kind of the ritual part of it, whereas not so much the meditative part. And it could have changed. I haven't been in the Orisha community for quite a while, so that could have changed. But when I was a part of it, it was a little different. Whereas when you want to get into things like meditation and maybe Reiki and really kind of going within your spirit and healing, because back then we weren't really into healing. We were just really into, doing the path of our ancestors. And this book really kind of made it known that that was definitely a part of the tradition, is kind of going within. And one of the things this book does touch on is mental health, because the author does suffer from depression, and she speaks about her mother who also suffers from mental health. And even though that's a part of the life, still being able to work within this tradition for healing. So, do recommend this book. It doesn't really deal with the deities, which is great because of most books that are about ancestors do deal with that. This really deals about working for healing. At least that's my opinion. Next book, and we're almost at the end. Hooray. Next book is Women of the Light, The New Sacred Prostitute. So I bought this because, one, I do believe that prostitution should be legal. Uh, because it would hopefully make it safer for women and men who are interested in that lifestyle, and for people who purchase those services. I don't see why we are stigmatizing people for purchasing a service. You're an adult. If that's what you want to do with your money, you should be able to do it. And if people want to provide that service, they should be able to provide it without any stigma being attached to it. Um, this whole Judeo Christian thing that everybody's fornicating, everybody's lusting. If you're a person who wants to pay for a sexual act with another person, I don't understand why that should be an issue. I don't understand why that should be anyone's business. Now, having said that, I do think that it's something that it should be regulated. Like, yeah, get a license, because I think it would be something, it would protect the people who are in the industry. A lot of times people are out there, they're out there on the corner. That's not the safest lifestyle. Like, anything could happen to someone working that lifestyle. Whereas if it were more moderated by some kind of governing body, not necessarily the government, but some type of moderating body, you could be safe. You get your STD test, and you have your papers, and there's a safe space, kind of like what they're doing in Vegas and kind of what they do in other countries. You're creating a safe space for people to give pleasure and to receive pleasure, and no one's getting hurt. So this one, and since prostitution is not legal in most of America, I was kind of curious, like, so women who are called to be a sacred prostitute, how are they going about fulfilling that calling without being out on the corner, or posting an ad on the back of some free newspaper or online? How are they fulfilling that? So ran into this book, bought it at my local metaphysical bookstore, and it was really this group of women who were just really kind of out there doing it, in different ways. There's the porn star, the sex surrogate, the meditation teacher, the group sex hostess, the artist, the massage therapist — they call her masseuse, I hate that word — the call girl, the firewoman, and the nurse. And it's just their stories of how they have used their sexuality for healing for other people and for themselves. If that is a path that you're interested in, highly recommend it. Great book. And after I read this, of course, I had to go start reading Carl Jung and studying the archetype of the sacred prostitute, because I'm a nerd and that's what nerds do. Two more books. Yay! So, another Bible, another one of my personal Bibles, is Sacred Woman by Queen Afua. And I love this book. First of all, this is another tool for healing for women. And it is really more so dealing with the Kemetic deities, but you can use other deities, or you don't have to use any deities. It really depends on where you are. I like it because there's just, well, I want you to say I like it. I love it because there's just so much information. And it's different gates that you can work with to create a healing space for yourself. There's sacred movement and sacred words, and dealing with how you eat. You don't have to necessarily she does definitely push becoming more of a raw food vegan. You don't have to do that. Although truthfully, eating more live foods is obviously beneficial for your body in the long term. So it is something you could look into. But I'm not a raw foods vegan, but my diet is about 60% plant-based, 75% plant-based. I do predominantly, I eat chicken pretty much like one meal a day. Chicken or fish like one meal a day for the most part, and everything else is plant-based because I like chicken. But really kind of teaching you a holistic lifestyle in a way that you can teach yourself. Now, what a lot of women do is that they create study groups, which is a great idea. um, and just kind of go through the gateways together and discuss their experiences. And I actually did that with a group of women online years ago, and it was really very cool. I didn't take Queen of Four does offer a program. I did not take it. It is something I have looked into on more than one occasion, so I'm not saying I'm never going to take it, but as it stands right now, it's not something that I took. But it is something, a book that I think is a great resource for women for healing. And last but not least, you like that little thunk sound? Just throwing them up there. Then that means I gotta go put all of these back in a bookcase. Huh? Anyway, the last one is this is called Opening the Spirit, and it's by Carolyn Shola. I am not going to even try that last name. But I met her once. I met Queen of Four too. Um, actually took a evening class with her just about sacred movement, and she's really cool. I love her. But this is a great book because it deals with the chakras and the astral bodies, and really working that, taking that information and adding in the African element. Um, Attaching the deities to the chakras, which is great. Like, let's see, solar plexus chakra. It gives the name of the solar plexus chakra in Sanskrit and what its meaning, what it's for, its colors, its elements, um, the deities like solar plexus. She says for Africa, Ra, Hathor, Ogun, Shango. She also gives the Indian deities, the European deities, and then just kind of goes into it how to work with that particular chakra. Once again, this is my second copy of this book. That was my second copy of Queen of Fool's book too. I'm one of those people that if I love a book and I will buy multiple copies sometimes because I may be doing a different type of work. I bought this one when I met her the second time because I wanted her to autograph it. Yay! Anyway, I got it, and I had another copy, and then at the time I was doing a lot of chakra work, so I took my original copy because this one does have like the color plates in it. I was doing a lot of chakra work, so I was kind of like using these for meditation, and I kind of, I basically ripped them out because I knew I had a second copy. So books are useful for me. So this is my second copy. But if you want to really kind of go into the chakra system and with the African or Afrocentric or African centered, I'm not sure the term we're using right now, but if you want to use, have that element added into it, excellent book. Also, in addition to that, there are a couple of honorable mentions that I didn't bring. Dr. Muata Ashby, Egyptian Yoga, pretty much all of his books. I have about, I want to say 5 or 6. All of his books are excellent books to really kind of go deeper into your spiritual practices. Also, Eckhart Tolle, The New Earth. And now here's the funny thing about Eckhart Tolle. Most people, you've read The Power of Now, or you've read The New Earth. I can, for whatever reason, you just don't ever read the other one. Like, I read The New Earth. Love it. Love that book. Bought The Power of Now. Could not read that book to save my life. And I've met other people who've done the opposite. Not really sure what that's about because they have similar information, but just didn't happen. Another honorable mention, and I think I've mentioned this in a previous video, is Osho, Love, Freedom, and Aloneness. I think I actually did a whole video on that because that is a great book for anyone who is in relationship with someone else or with themselves. And that book took me a year to read because Osho's one of those people you read a little bit of his book and then you go away and you think about it and you think about how to apply it and then you come back and you read a little bit more and then you go away. So that was me and Osho. Like, it took me forever. When I finally finished it, I was like, mind blown. So what I like, in any event that you are interested in any of these books, please comment down below. Let me know what you're interested in. If you want more information about the book, if you've read the book, what you thought of, or read one of the books, what you thought about it, if you want to pick it up, I would love to have a conversation about these books because I love books. I love knowledge. I love knowledge of self. I love African spiritual knowledge. So, and if you have books that you'd like to recommend for me, please feel free. I may or may not pick them up. I'm not going to say that I will, but I will definitely take a look at them on Amazon and see if they should be a part of my collection. That's my offering for you all. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I am going to try to get another video out. I'd like to do Black Girl Magic for teens video at some point. The problem is I don't have any of their books. I've read them, like L.A. Banks. Back in the day, I was really into her. I've read Children of Blood and Bone, Octavia Butler. The problem is all those books, I have moved from a house to an apartment. And so all those books are in storage because I wasn't reading them. I kind of kept my more important books with me. Not that those aren't important. I have them, but it's like I can't actually show them. And I'm not technologically savvy to know how to do inserts into here. So I got to research that. But until we meet again, peace, blessings, Odabo.